Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Patsun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/slash relationship advice, where OP's cheating girlfriend is now alone and miserable. Let's begin. My girlfriend wanted an open relationship, so I broke up with her. Now she wants to get back together. Posted by Reddit user _A open not for me.
I was dating my ex up until a month ago. We were together for 4 years before that. So before we broke up, she was acting distant for a good month, then as of last month, sat me down and asked for an open relationship. The minute those words came out of her mouth, I broke up with her. I came into this relationship expecting a monogamous relationship, and now she wanted to change the relationship. I only want to be with one person. If we couldn't agree on that, I see no future. With the way she was acting before this, I can't trust her. And even if she wasn't acting shady, I wouldn't be able to trust her anyway for suggesting it. Those are some of the reasons I decided to break up with her in that moment, even though it might seem harsh. In my opinion, if someone wants a relationship like that, then the relationship should start like that for it to be healthy, not just dumped on your partner after years of monogamy. Now I've been getting texts and voicemails from her crying to take her back and that she didn't mean it. I'm not sure what to think. Some people have been telling me that I acted too rash and didn't even give us time to work it out, that it was cruel of me to do that. Is this something I acted too quick with or not? TLDR, girlfriend suggested open relationship. I broke it off. Now she wants to get back together. Now for OP's update. I thought I would give an update since people messaged me to post one when I can. I didn't expect to update this soon though. After posting and expressing to some people that I had a suspicion that she cheated on me, I couldn't get the nagging feeling out of my head. I didn't want to know at first, but decided to go digging and ask mutual friends what ex had been up to that month she was acting shady. I didn't expect one of her closest friends to spill the beans, but she did. My suspicions were correct. She had been cheating on me with a mutual friend's cousin. I decided to message the guy on Facebook. When I messaged him, he wanted to meet in person, so I met him at a local pub. When I got there, he apologized and explained everything. How he didn't know she was in a relationship, and that the day she called me wanting me back was the day he found out and broke it off. I can't fault the guy. He seemed genuine and really apologetic. On the plus side, I drank for free the entire time. He seems like a great guy, especially considering how he broke it off right away once he knew. I won't lie, he's a handsome and great guy, and I would let him fuck me to rub it in my ex's face.
Gay.
But at least I have a bit of closure now. I've blocked my ex on everything and I'm gathering her stuff she's left here to mail to her, so she doesn't come knocking. It's taking a lot of power not to leave a note in the box along the lines of, "Mark seems nice, too bad you lost him too. Sorry if some of this makes no sense. I'm typing this on my phone and my fat thumbs aren't doing me any favors." It also doesn't help that I'm a bit tipsy, but I'm glad I could vent and get advice from you beautiful fuckers of Reddit. TLDR, she was cheating.
You are lucky that she showed you her real self before marriage. Can you imagine if this happened just a few years into the future? What a nightmare it would have been. Also, kudos to you for immediately breaking up with her. You have a solid iron spine, young man. A trait that most men of today lacks. You have a bright future ahead of you. Well done, OP. And now for today's second story. Update on finding out my wife who was killed in a car accident was actually cheating on me, plus my healing process. Posted by a deleted Reddit user.
2 months ago, my wife of 10 years tragically passed away in a car accident, hit by a drunk driver in broad daylight. I cried nonstop for 3 days. We were planning on having kids and I had started a good paying job a year earlier, and we just purchased our first home just 2 months before her death. I just couldn't and still can't believe she is really gone from my life. It's like just yesterday everything was heading in the right direction and I would soon raise a family. She seemed happy in our marriage and stated how proud of me she was. The following week after the accident, I received her phone, which was locked. After a week I found out how to unlock it by an obvious code I hadn't thought of earlier. I simply just wanted it to keep photos in her memory, photos of us and so forth, but I saw some odd things in her photos. Included photos of her in someone else's house, a house which I had never seen before, taking provocative images. I continued scrolling down and seen the most heart-wrenching thing I ever seen, which was her with another man. It was nothing sexual, but they were in a place that was obviously his. And with just how close they were, I just knew that this was an affair. The guy who my wife had an affair with showed up at her funeral. I felt like I got stabbed in the gut when I realized I had seen him there. I began reading her texts, and first I found out that she was on her way back from his place. 3 hours before the accident, she texts him saying, "I'm on my way." I knew that meant he was the last one to see my wife. Not only see her, but having an intimate moment with her. Also, she would still be here right now if she wasn't seeing him. I feel like I'm going through a death of a loved one and a breakup at the same time. She did this behind my back and will never know that I found out. In a way, I feel she got to escape the heartbreak she put me through. Although I fully understand death is much worse, and even knowing everything I know, I would never ever wish this or any pain upon her. I found out not only through her texts, but her Facebook messages. Something that absolutely enraged me was that she told her closest friend that this guy from work wanted to take her out to dinner. Her friend encouraged her to go out with him. It enraged me because I knew her as well, and in person she was always very nice. But my wife was asking her to get confirmation, and she said, "No, you are married. Do not go out with him." I honestly feel like she wouldn't have done it. But her best friend was like, "Oh, is he hot? Oh, do it. Go have fun." It's just fucking enraging. This happened 6 months ago when she asked her friend about it. A few days later, she talked to her friend about how after dinner, she went to his place and had sex multiple times. When I read that, I honestly got physically sick. I honestly started going through a breakdown, vomiting in the toilet, then crying on the bathroom floor. I just can't imagine that this stuff actually happened, but it did. How could she do this? But as the days passed and the initial shock began to slow down, I started piecing things together. At the funeral, I noticed something a little unusual, which was this best friend of hers talking to one of her coworkers. This was a friend from high school, and there was no reason she should have known any of her coworkers. But she was in fact talking to her coworker who she had the affair with. Then she came and talked to me, gave me a hug. The guy who my wife was having an affair with came and shook my hand. Something about that just makes me feel sick. Like I was being humiliated in a moment of grief. There was him and her best friend who knew about her affair. I couldn't help but wonder, did her coworkers also know? It's been a month and I feel no closer to breaking away from the heartbreak. I miss her. I want her to be alive. If she was, I would probably even want to fix our marriage, but she's not here anymore. I still couldn't bring myself to read all of her text messages with him. There are hundreds and some are sexually explicit. My blood boils and my heart aches when I open their texts, and I get hit with anxiety and an adrenaline rush. Palms get sweaty and hands shake. But I feel it's important that I knew everything. It just breaks my heart that this guy did things with my wife she wouldn't do for me. The thing that blows my mind the most was that there were no warning signs at all. Not fucking one. Our marriage was good. She never did anything suspicious. Our sex life went on as normal. Just zero warning signs about it other than the fact she started wearing a little more makeup than usual. Then I blame myself for not catching on. Maybe this all could have been prevented. Maybe I should have done this or that. I am broken and don't see myself ever being happy again. Edit. Thanks everyone for all the support. I honestly didn't expect so much response. Everyone who wished me well, thank you, and know that your kind words give me strength. I have got a response back from her friend, stating that she is deeply sorry for encouraging the behavior and not taking my feelings into account. She never wanted me to hurt and yada yada. Honestly, I don't feel any relief from her apologies. About the phone, I cannot bring myself to destroy all the truth. I feel like I must read through the entirety of my wife's texts with this man, or I will forever go crazy wondering what did and didn't occur, how often, and maybe get some answers on if they were lovers. Was it just lust, or what did she plan on doing? Obviously, in this state of trauma, I cannot emotionally handle reading their conversations, but I decided to keep the phone to read it all and then toss it and move on. Also, for people telling me to piss on her grave or saying this is karma, please drop it and don't comment. I loved her for over a decade and it's not going away like that. I still love this woman even with the disgusting things she has done. She was still my wife, a daughter, and an aunt. She didn't deserve to get hit by some drunk driver and suffer with bleeding her brain that ultimately caused her death. Please go away. I do not need this, and I am not a sick-minded enough man to have those thoughts. For everyone else, thank you so much. And now, for OP's update. Hello all, I love everyone in this sub. You guys have shown me so much support regarding what I've been dealing with. I can't say anything has gotten better, especially during this current situation where I'm stuck not working now. Just too much time. Anyway, people mentioned getting in touch with my wife's company's HR about her coworker whom she was having an affair with. I have done this and I asked about it and they said there was no policy against coworkers getting romantically involved as long as it is off work. I kind of figured this was the case. As much as I want to get him fired and ruin his life, it was in fact consensual and their affair was off the clock, so I understand that there is nothing they can do. I didn't think there was. I sent a screenshot of the message of her friend encouraging her to her boyfriend on Facebook. He replied that he is sorry for what happened to me, but that she didn't think she would actually do it, that I shouldn't blame his girlfriend for my wife's affair or death. So I guess it's a dead end there as I am talking to a doorknob who believes whatever his girlfriend says. I got a ton of suggestions about posting her texts and messages to publicize what she did. I am not going to do this and I really don't understand the point of doing it. She is gone and has no consequences left to suffer. No justice will be served. She is gone. I will only be making this more difficult for her family. Besides, it's not really anyone else's business even if she was alive. So I decided to go through all her texts with him and her other friends. I was going to wait longer before looking, but I just couldn't sleep. I couldn't seem to move on from wondering how, where, why, and not having any answers. Her entire conversation with him was still there from their first and last texts. Little bit of good news is she expressed guilt about the affair, and after meeting him the second time for sex, she expressed guilt and she told him that she can't continue seeing him. But of course it would continue. Their conversations would range from her being very close to him, sending heart-filled messages, to next thing totally ignoring him. But she would sometimes apologize for ignoring him, which obviously angered me. Bad news is she appears to have been much more sexually exploratory with him. She also smoked weed with him, which I had never seen her do. I found he had anal sex with her more than once, yet it's something she never let me do. She also had him sleep in our bed on the night I went to visit my brother. Also, she gave him head while he drove to get lunch on their lunch break. She talked about it like it was funny. This isn't something I was ready for. I began shaking and puking. It gave me a severe anxiety attack and I resorted to drinking last night because it was just too much. I feel like he took her from me, like he killed her because she would be alive if she didn't go to his place. I've been obsessed with the dates on their messages which they would meet. I'd go back to my social media and camera album to see what day that was. I was heartbroken when I see they met on our anniversary where I took her to dinner to the first place we went on a date. I remembered that day as a very good night with her, very romantic, and we were both so happy and close. I felt like I got hit in the gut knowing she had sex with another man just hours before our date. It makes me sick and I don't see how I can get over this. My mind is still numb after what I read last night. I just can't believe that shit actually happened. I honestly wish I never discovered this. I'd much rather have left her phone alone. I'd rather have remembered something I never knew, a lie compared to how I feel now. But now that I know, I need to let go of all the love I have for her. I'm mourning her death and I miss her so much, but it's time I need to realize she isn't who I thought she was. I have read everything there is to know and at least I don't think I can hurt any more than I'm hurting now. Here is to hopefully healing. I have a talk with a psychologist in about a month, but if I feel any worse, I will go to the hospital because I am close to feeling suicidal. But I know it's an illogical feeling. I must go on.
Well, I'll be one of those people to say that this is just karma, OP. It doesn't always come for those who deserve it, but boy oh boy, when it does, it makes one hell of an entrance. I do have some questions for you. Why the hell did you allow this man in her funeral? And why did you allow her friend that encouraged her to cheat in the funeral? That's just plain cowardice, OP. One final thing, stop reading the text messages. You're just shopping for more pain. She's dead. You can't do anything about it anymore. You don't need to know all the nitty-gritty details. Throw it away, stop whining on Reddit, and go to therapy. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.